Hey everybody, welcome to the Ballet Rising videocast. It's obviously been a little while since we've been able to put out a video, so I'm really excited to be getting back to it with tonight's guest. She seems like a fascinating individual. I've been following her for some time, her and her school and her story. I've seen a lot of interviews and been reading about it. She is the artistic director and executive director of the Dance Center Kenya in Nairobi. I'm really excited to be speaking with her tonight, so let's welcome Cooper Rust. All right, welcome to the videocast, Cooper Rust. Welcome, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great. It's great to finally talk to you. I saw an interview with you recently with Dirk Badenhorst for the South African International Ballet Competition. It was really fascinating to finally hear you speak. I've been following your school and you for quite a while now, probably about since I started Ballet Rising. It's been my intention to get in touch with you and talk to you all this time. So it's it's great to finally talk to you.
Well, that's so flattering, and thank you so much. It's really fun that Dirk is doing what he's doing in South Africa and bringing more of the continent together to because there are lots of projects going on in Africa, and it was fun for me to do that as well, just to be able to meet other people that are doing kind of similar work.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like there's a lot more going on with ballet and dance and everything in Africa than I think most people know. There seems to be a lot more than even I knew. Just getting into it now because of Ballet Rising, it just seems to be popping up everywhere. So it's really exciting and it's really fun to see all these people doing great things and really building a strong community throughout Africa as well. It's really exciting.
I'm really excited also to see more people leaving Kenya and leaving Africa. And like I always say, like in every company I ever danced for, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but there's always like that Korean couple and the Russians and the Cubans and I can't wait for it to be like, oh, and of course we have the Nigerians and the Kenyans, like, you know, that we infiltrate, or that Africans infiltrate all the companies as well at some point.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what Ballet Rising is all about. It says on our website, and I've said it a million times. When I was a kid, it was like dancers always came from Europe or the United States, and with a couple people from a few other company or countries. But nowadays, it's everybody's coming from everywhere, and we're going to see that continue to expand. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a generation of Africans really starting to get into major ballet companies and start to become well-known dancers and choreographers. I think that the ballet world could gain so much from their artistry and experience, and we could see new styles and new things. So I think it's really cool. I'm excited to see it develop. So I just wanted to quickly I'd love to talk to you a lot more on a whole variety of different issues with regard to art and expression throughout Africa in general. But I think for today it would be great to just get to know you and introduce you. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about where you're from and sort of how you got into ballet. Right from the
Kind
basics.
of the most boring kind of story. When I was 2, I'm from South Carolina. My parents took me to the Nutcracker, and I just knew, like so many of us, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And I guess that was probably in November, December. And then they said, well, you can start in September. And apparently I said every day, like, is it September? Is it time for ballet? And I just never stopped. By the time I was 11, 12, I was going away to summer programs at School of American Ballet, or the Harid Conservatory, Milwaukee. Then I went to Harid for high school in Florida, in Boca. And that was intense, but it was great. I mean, all those schools. Where did you go to school?
Well, I started in Ballet West in Salt Lake City, where I'm from originally, and then I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from the Kirov Academy in Washington, D.C. But I knew a
Yeah,
lot of
Kirov's the
people from
same.
Harid.
I know a lot of people from here up too. Yeah, of course. So like, yeah, all those schools that's like, it's intense.
Yeah.
Um, but great training. And well, and really proud to have gone there. But then after that, I ended up being way taller than was expected. I'm 5'10". So getting a job was a little bit more of a challenge than I had expected. I just kept growing and growing. So I ended up with Nevada Ballet Theater, and I did a little bit with Milwaukee Ballet, and then Nevada Ballet, and that's where I kind of worked the ranks. I went in as a trainee, and then an apprentice, and then a quarter ballet member, and kept going from there. And while I was there in Las Vegas, I also decided to go to school at UNLV and just get a history degree. For it took 6 years because I did it like slowly, and there's nothing you can really do with a history degree, but it was fun to study.
I'm a huge history buff. I'm always reading history books and traveling around the world too. I'm just like, okay, what's the history? I mean, it's fun. It's
How did we get here? Absolutely. So I loved that. But then once I graduated and I had the off season really off, like I didn't have school, I didn't know. I was like, well, but I guess I could go serve tables, which is always great to get extra money. Or like I thought, what if I just go and volunteer in Africa somewhere? I've never been to Africa. I've always loved to travel to, and it was like the one continent I'd never been to. And so I thought I'd come and teach English and math. And I found an organization that kind of catered to that. And they gave like 4 choices of where you could go. And Nairobi was the least expensive flight. Not a very romantic way that I got here, but it was just serendipitous, I guess. Excuse me. And then when I got here, I started looking for class to try to stay in shape. I mean, just like normal, like where can you take technique class? And I couldn't find anything, but I found a friend, well, now a friend, one of my best friends. I found this guy who was teaching ballet in the slum, in Kibera slum and Mathare slum, 2 of the biggest slums, or Kibera is the 3rd biggest slum in the world.
Yeah.
But he was an African dancer, not a ballet dancer. And he like had a few different people travel in to teach him some ballet. But when I called him and I was like, I'm here, do you need any help? And he was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. His name is actually Michael Maya, and we're still super close friends, and still do loads of projects together. But he is still working in Kibera and doing amazing work. But he was like, yeah, I don't know very much about ballet, and if you want to come and teach me and them, that'd be great. So I started doing that every summer for a while, and then and then I stayed, and then I was gonna stay for 6 months, and then I ended up calling my director and just saying, like, I really think this is where I want to be. I remember also looking at the season for the next year and thinking, like, we're doing Nutcracker, we're doing Giselle, we're doing Sleeping Beauty. Like, I'm sure there was some new stuff, of course, but I just remember being like, I'm like, again, I'm so tall. I'm either going to do Carabosse or Lilac Fairy again and Arabian. And like, I kind of already know where this is. I'm from Myrta. Here we go again. So, yeah, it just seemed better to if I had something to be passionate about and excited about, to kind of move in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean that's such a huge step. So you'd never even been to Africa before that?
I came for 6 weeks, and at that time when I first came, I lived like in an underprivileged home with 2 pastors. I'm not a particularly religious person, but they were so loving and incredible, and I really experienced life that way. It was July, which is really cold actually in Nairobi, and we had running water but no showers and no heated water or anything like that. So like I even remember like combering back to wash my hair so it wouldn't touch me because it was so cold.
Wow. Reminds me a lot of Stephen Bimson. He's the director of the English ballet company in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. He did the same thing. He just wanted to travel, and he went to Cambodia. I can't remember how he got into it, but yeah, same thing. He was just like, he ended up staying for 10 years. It's just Yeah, I could imagine the same thing. Like I've traveled around and done a little teaching here and there, and I mean I kind of was doing the same thing. I wanted to travel, and I met people, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll teach a little class, you know. And I felt, you know, in each of these places, like, oh, you know, I could stay here. It was just something different and unusual, and just a drive. The people really everywhere I've been, and people just really, really are they're starved for knowledge, and they just want to be a part of the community. So it's interesting to sort of see these similarities in a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I think I would imagine his story it being similar in that also you get there and you see potential, but if you don't stay, you'll never know how the story ends. And
Uh,
working in the slums without mirrors and bars, and it was like you guys are so capable and there's so much potential, but this is you're never going to be able to seriously train. Like this is always going to be an after school for fun thing to do, which is, I mean, great. And I know 99.9% of people that do ballet, that's what it is, and that's awesome. But like, yeah, it was never like one day a week for an hour from a charity teaching a bit of plies and some bunny hops isn't going to end up being somebody dancing with Royal Ballet.
yeah, yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah,
that was kind of a driving force for staying.
yeah, that's so cool. And so wait, so how long have you been there now?
Um, it was 7 years this past August,
Wow,
but
that's
I'd been coming for years before that. But yeah, I've been like a resident of Kenya with a work permit and everything for 7 years, and had my school for 6 years this coming January.
wow, what an experience. I've always wanted to live for a couple of years on each continent. But yeah, I've never been to
It'd
Africa
be amazing.
either. I mean, I've only been to
Oh, you
Mauritius
gotta
and
come.
Morocco. Yeah, I was supposed to be coming down. I wanted to come down to. I wanted to spend several months in Africa this year, but unfortunately, because of COVID, I'm doing everything via Zoom.
It's amazing. We all are.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been really trying to get in touch with a lot of people all over Africa. I've been speaking to a lot of people, primarily in Nigeria. There's a lot of ballet schools and teachers and communities popping up in Nigeria. It's really, really amazing. But also, I've
I
seen a lot of stuff in Kenya as well.
Yeah, no, it's really growing. It really is. And I was asked to go and teach in Nigeria this year, but same story with COVID because everything's canceled. But there's so much going on there, and what I'm really hoping for Kenya and Nigeria. I mean, I want to have a professional company here, like as 10 or 15-year goal, not anytime. I mean, we need like serious funding, and I want like it to be as good as Cape Town or Joburg Ballet, like something like that.
Mm.
But or maybe 20 years, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
however long it takes to find funding and everything. But like I see Nigeria in the same place. Like we need to, because right now the biggest goal is to export our dancers. Like um one of my kids has just graduated from English National Ballet School, and he might have a contract offer with a well-known company in the States, but I'm not allowed to say what yet. And he will be the first. Joel Kyoko is the kid I'm talking about, and he's so special, and he might have a job for next May. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
I
who's
know
going
the
to give him
name.
a contract?
I think I saw the story of him going to ENB. Yeah, that's exciting. Wow.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, yeah, because he moved in with me when he was 13, and I ended up homeschooling him and then teaching him, and then um, I wrote a bunch of different schools, which who I won't say, who didn't even write me back,
Yeah.
and BNBS did, and then they're like, but you got to fly him up here to audition, and we don't give scholarships to children that aren't from or young dancers that aren't from the UK.
Mm.
And then I kind of told my mom, and she's like, you're not going to spend $600 sending him up there. And I was like, yeah, I am. And so we sent him up there, and they immediately offered him a full ride.
Wow.
And that was just crazy. And that was 3.5 years ago now. And so now he's graduated. It's a 3-year program, and now he's hanging out in London because I think everybody that's graduating from Kirov, SAB,
Yeah.
ENBS, everybody's hanging out.
Yeah.
They've created, but EMBS has done a really good job. They've created a like trainee program for them to do through the school. So he's in class and stuff. Well,
Okay.
probably not more, but
Cool.
not as of earlier this week. But
Yeah. Wow, that's so
um,
exciting. That's really exciting. I mean, that's what I really want Ballet Rising to do is to raise more awareness and to create more avenues for people like Joel and just for people from around the world. So to to get people where they want to go and to help open up the ballet community, and eventually these people can obviously have their careers and study and learn, and they can eventually bring their art and their knowledge and experience back to their home country. It's always amazing to see how many people really want to build these communities within their own with their home countries. It's not like a lot of these people just want to move to Europe and stay in Europe or the United States. They want to go, they want to learn, they want to study, but then they all have the intention of bringing their experience and their knowledge and everything back to their home countries. And it'll be really exciting to see that develop. And hopefully not 20 years, and you never know, but
the real goal, I told Joel that my goal is that he does his last season here. That like we have a ballet company ready to go, but he's 20. He'll be 21 in July. So I'm really pushing because that's the worst, that we're gonna create all these gorgeous dancers, and the first thing we're gonna do is like get rid of them like
yeah,
as fast as possible. So the Kenyan people won't even be able to enjoy his career.
yeah,
Um, we did just in February, right before the lockdown. Luckily, I set a full-length Romeo and Juliet for the first time here at the National Theater, and Joel got to come back and dance. The school let him come back, and his good friend and another one of my students, Annabelle Shaw. She's Kenyan, but from a more privileged family. She was up in Northern Ballet in Manchester. So she actually had so many injuries that she decided to stop and go to uni. And so this was her last show. And then Joel, it was kind of like his first show, even though they're both 2021. And it was great for him to come back and dance. But that's all. Like that's the only time his mom will ever see him dance,
yeah.
because she can't get a visa, she can't get a passport.
Mm.
So the Kenyans aren't even going to get to enjoy all of these people that are going to go, and that's really sad. So hopefully we'll have a company soon.
Well, we'll see what we can do. I mean, one of the other things I'd love for Ballet Rising to do is to be able to set up galas and summer programs, and it's going to take a long time for some places to develop mostly to get the funds, as you mentioned, but to also develop the community and the culture and develop the dancers themselves. So it'll take a little while, but I think hopefully we can create some galas and do some performances and things that will bring people periodically back home and rejuvenate the community and just keep that connectivity going on. That's what I would really love to do. So I've been talking to some people in India about doing some ballet galas in India. So we'll see where that goes. But I'd love to do the same thing in South America, Africa, everywhere. It'd be really exciting to see where we can take this. And I think the ballet community as a whole, people here in Europe and the mainstream communities, they would love it too. Every director and choreographer I've spoken with, has been very excited and very supportive of everything that I'm trying to do with Ballet Rising, and just very supportive in general of everything that's happening around the world. I mean, you saw that the cool young kid from Nigeria who got the scholarship recently to a school in the U.S. They're doing the all-the turns with no shoes on. It's everybody's really excited about it.
I'm sure it's the same. 50 people must have sent that to me. I got it Messenger and WhatsApp and email, and that kid has been sent around the world. It's amazing.
It's really inspiring, to see the drive and the passion for it, and it's great. I had about 500 people send it to me as well. They're like, hey, look, this is perfect Ballet Rising. I was like, yeah. So
and you just think about like life and when you're dancing, and like when people are like, this floor is just too hard, I couldn't possibly warm up in this space, and then you're like, look at this kid, suck it up.
I know, because I've been that person. Oh no, it's too slippery. Oh no, it's too sticky. Oh no, it's not just perfect. I've been that dancer. And you look at these kids, you're like,
and then you look at those guys and you're like, is he on barefoot and rocks doing like a manege? Like, what
Oh
is
yeah.
going
Yeah.
on?
That's when I just wanted to go back in time and just slap myself, like, get to work, man. Come on.
Deal.
I mean, but it's great for everybody. It's great for him. It's great for everybody. It's great for us, here in Europe and North America to be able to see this. And we all think the same thing, like, oh my gosh, we need to stop complaining because, I mean, some people are just going for it and they hardly have anything. Yeah, really, really exciting. So, tell me a little bit about Kenya. What has been the reaction in Kenya as far as like people bringing classical ballet and has there been any sort of like, why are you bringing this here? Who are you? Has there been any kind of backlash or any kind of awkwardness?
The nice part about um, what I'm doing, well, in addition to Joel, I have 13 other kids that live with me. That's who I keep looking at because they're having dinner quietly, sort of. Um,
Oh, I said hi.
they're hey, they'll come by and say hi in a minute.
Sure.
They, but the, so they have. I've started pulling them out of the slums so that they can train every single day. And then I decided their education wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I started fundraising to send them to American and British schools. And so now ballet is starting to get this reputation of hope. And like, if you get the chance to do ballet, if you have a talent for ballet, you're going to end up on this amazing path that leads you to London. Or another one of my students now is in the US, going to the University of South Carolina for ballet and engineering. And another one of my kids, Francis, he's supposed to already be gone. He's going for technical theater. He's going to a school in Oklahoma. He'll now go in January instead of August this past year. And so like, it's getting this reputation of, if you can do ballet, like if you can get into art, then there's hope. Versus in American culture, whenever you're like, oh, I want to be a ballet dancer, people are like, oh,
Yeah.
like that's
That's
awful. Like, oh, so you're gonna be poor for your whole life? Like, yeah, yes.
What are you gonna do for a job?
I got that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, oh, for fun. Like,
Yeah.
so there's that side of it, which is great. And so in the slums, it's starting to get a reputation of being like a great thing to do. The things that have been difficult are convincing people that if you want, like people of means who want to train here, like if you want to do ballet, you can't do it 1 or 2 days a week. I mean, if you want to do it well, like just like math, like you got to do it every day. And that's been hard to get people's minds to wrap around. And then there have been a few, not a lot, but a few comments that have been like, this is this is like, Caucasian people coming in and putting their art form on people. But all the art, because in addition to my studio, I also run an arts program that goes into underprivileged schools, and the kids pick drama, music, ballet, traditional African dance, or visual art. But yeah, so they've chosen it, and that's really great. The other thing that we don't have the whole stigma. Well, okay, so here in Kenya, homosexuality is illegal, and generally we don't have the stigma that we do in the States and in the Western world that everybody that is a ballet dancer that's male is gay. But there was this one video that was done by Vice, one interviewee kind of documentary thing that HBO did, and some of the comments were horrendous about my kids, my sons, that like they're on the internet, and I'm so disturbed about them saying like, why are you turning African men effeminate and blah blah blah. And
Wow.
that was the most painful thing ever and I, especially because they are my kids and they live with me and I've had them for years, and I still don't know, I haven't figured out how to handle it. Like, these are people and they're stupid and it's their opinion, and we have to respect that everybody can have their own opinion. But that's one of the only times that I've been really disappointed by the reaction, because generally thousands and thousands of people have been so wonderful and so supportive and excited, and everybody from the ballet world is so excited to have more people of color in ballet. And
Mm.
Yeah, so then those few naysayers that have some, you know, and the other thing I always say when people say, the other thing that's annoying that people say is, do these kids really need ballet or do they need water? And, you know, or food, like, and I just keep saying, like, well, that's not my skill set. All I can give is ballet because that's all I know. But if you know a lot about water, please feel welcome to come and help. But yeah, I can't do anything about the water.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't have that in my
I
bag.
mean, we all need water, but we all need to have self expression. We all need to feel as if we're individuals as well. I mean, all right, yeah, we need the basic necessities, but what else? You know, we,
What's the point if there's no quality of life just to exist?
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, yeah. And I mean, the thing that always gets me, because you kind of get similar vibes, similar things. It doesn't matter where you go, you know, South America, Africa, you know, people are kind of a bit like, you know, why are you doing this? And then for me, because I'm a big sports fan, I'm always like, why is everybody here studying football? Why isn't anybody complaining about that? You know, football's a great thing. Sports are a
Yeah.
fantastic thing, but so are arts, you know. There's so much to it. And of course, we all want to be very protective of our cultures and cultural identity, and particularly indigenous cultures. But you know, there's a whole broad world out there, and it's just, you know, sometimes I've seen people criticize the arts for saying, oh, you know, this is invasive. So are sports, so are a lot of things, but nobody complains about it.
That's such a That's such a good point, Casey. Just you've actually made me think. Like, it's also really funny because art and dance was such a important, crucial part of African culture, and then it's almost like Western culture coming in and saying people shouldn't dance has now changed the barometer of what's the culture here. Because definitely, dance is a significant part of, like, these guys. It's so funny. All the men that I know here, like normal Joe Schmoes, not dancers, they all dance. At every party you go to, everybody dances for hours, like crazy people. They don't even drink. They just dance. Like, they don't know what a bar is here because nobody goes to bars. They just go to places where you can dance, and they dance and they dance.
That's amazing.
And it's so cool. And and yeah, and so if dance is such a part of the culture, it is almost like our Western ideals through movies and everything else have, like, now made it not okay a little bit. It's kind of funny because I do think that it works really well here. The amount of people who are just so naturally gifted for ballet is crazy.
I can
Um,
imagine. I mean, I just look, I mean, you see it all over the internet, Africans dancing. I mean, you can, yeah, it's such a part of the life, it seems like, of just everyday life, moving to music, rhythm, and sound, you know, moving your body. Um, you know, how could Africans not be good at something like classical ballet? You know, it just seems like it would be so
and
natural.
then there's also this whole concept that this misconcept that all African people don't have nice feet or something like that. And there are kids here with sick feet, like
I'll bet.
like
Yeah.
crazy beautiful feet. There's this one little girl, Lavender, who has lived with me for the last 4 years, and
That's a cute name.
she's auditioning for, yeah, and I love purple, and her name is Lavender. But she's hopefully gonna go. She's in 7th grade, so hopefully going in a year or two away. But she goes through like 2 pairs of Grishkos a month. Like, she just has crazy, bendy, amazing feet, which is not great for us
Yeah.
financially. But
I was gonna say those
you know,
6 per day in a day.
she's like 12 years old and just like throwing away extra hard shanked Russian shoes like it's
Wow.
candy. And yeah, so I think there's so many barriers to break. Um, but mostly, but back to your original question, which I went way off on, it's been mostly positive,
Yeah.
like 99.9% positive. And then there's just been a few things that you're like, oh, I remember one person made a comment um, on an AP picture, a picture that had gone out on the Associated Press, and they asked, like, why are the white girls in the middle and the black girls in a picture of flowers?
Mhm.
And it's like just a moment in our Nutcracker's flowers, and the 2 tallest girls happened to be white. And I ended up writing a long thing on how court of ballet works, and it's just
Mm.
by chance the two tallest girls in the middle, but they're usually in the back because that's where the tallest people, but they in this particular circle shaped thing pose for 2 seconds of the choreography, they were in the middle,
Oh
in
wow.
the back. But yeah, so you get those kind of things and you're just like, there
Yeah.
are 16 flowers and two happen to be of white, and then yeah, those things happen, and you just have to kind of like brush your shoulders off and be like,
Yeah.
are you really calling me racist right now when this is what I'm doing with my life?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's
But
bound to happen a little bit. I've gotten some criticism for ballet rising. I think when I first started it, people were like, why are you, why is some white guy going into these countries around the world and bringing a white art form and stuff like that? I was like, okay, listen, it's not for white people, first of all. It's traditionally been white people, but it's becoming blah 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 blah. I mean, we're always going to face a little bit of backlash, but I mean, this is the world we live in. We have to be careful about those kinds of things. We have to be conscious, but we also have to sort of move on and do our thing. What we're doing ultimately is a good thing, but we have to be a bit careful at times. I'm kind of surprised. When I first started doing this, I thought I'm going to be speaking to all these people in all these different countries, and I thought for sure there's going to be some major backlash. People starting ballet schools in places, and I'm very surprised. There's very little of it. You do get this little
people are
while
so
like, why are
excited
you?
to have it.
Yeah, I mean, people in general, they're kind of like, they're either they don't care or they're very supportive. And once in a while, you hear a little bit of oh, why are you bringing that here? But in general, I think people around the world, yeah, they either don't care or they're very supportive, pretty much. They're like, I think we all see it, it's classical ballet. It's beautiful.
Oh, I mean, and here it's so fun. 5 years ago, I did the first like full length Nutcracker at the National Theater, and people were just like, "This is so creative," and I'm like, "That's really nice. Not the adjective I would use. Creative might be a stretch. Thank you, though." But like, you bring ballet here, and people are just so excited, and I mean, we've taken it further now. Like now we have a whole live orchestra with Nutcracker and bringing in musicians from Germany, UK, America. We brought in for the last 2 years, a guest conductor from the States. And like, so we are like trying to make it more than just, another Nutcracker. But it is funny to hear people just blown away at how new it is. So it's so fun for me after, yeah, nearly 3 decades of doing this, for it to feel new, like for people to see it for the first time. And we always do like dress rehearsals and things for kids. But it's so different than kids in the States when we used to do those kinds of shows with the company, and they'd be like, these kids they've never been to a show. They're so excited. They've never been to the theater. They've never seen a show. They've never done anything like this. So they're just stoked. It's way more fun.
I love that feeling, when you expose somebody to something new and interesting and fascinating for the first time, and you see the curiosity. I did a little. I was speaking at a couple of schools in India, and it was really fun. This woman that I was there to help and support, help her build her company in India. They'd heard that men do ballet, but they'd never, seen it, and for me to go into their school and speak, and for them to see me and meet me was like, wow, oh my gosh, ballet, men do ballet, it was just like, oh, wow. It just sort of opened their eyes. And apparently she'd been trying to get some boys to take some ballet classes for years, and nobody would ever do it. They all said, yeah, we'll try it. And then they never did. I think she had like 10 boys or 5, something like that. Boys after that who all wanted to try it. I don't know if any of them stuck with it, but still, it's exciting to see people just,
Oh, it's great.
hey, just exposed to something new.
It's one of my biggest. I have loads of boys. Like I have that live with me right now and train full time. I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boys that and then we have other guys at the school that are like paying students, and even other sponsored students that aren't full, like they're not our highest level where they get to train every day, but they come 2 or 3 times a week, littler ones, and we have loads of boys. And it is one of my most frustrating things that we don't have a male teacher here, because
Yeah.
now like some of the older guys, Shamik and George, are now 16, and I'm trying to like explain how to do a revolton, and I'm like, I can't show you, but I promise it works. Like, can we watch? Let's get YouTube out again, and like, but I do swear that it works, because they're like, you want me to do what with my what, and then do what, and land how?
I can imagine watching a revolton the first time. I was, whoa.
And even trying to teach male variations, I never learned them. And it also, Joel, the kid who's in London, he got so mad at me because I taught him from my perspective only, and I never thought about where men put their feet. That really, when I started teaching, had never occurred to me. I just thought you guys like knew where they went. Like, but I'm like, partnering with him, I'd be like, you can't put your hands there. That's not right. Like, I know where your hands are supposed to be, but what your feet are doing, that never really. And so he sees, like, he did, not at the National Theater, but at a local theater, he did Sleeping Beauty Padada when he was like 14. I mean, and it would be awful. It would be awful anybody. But then he's like, what did you do to my feet? Like, never show anybody this footage ever. Like I and now that I see it, I'm like, oh my God, no, that's awful. Like, bring your legs together, man. Like, what are you doing? Just hanging out in second position when she's in like a beautiful arabesque or something, and you're just like back there. But yeah, I've never thought about that. This was right back at the beginning when I first started teaching, and now I know. Like, now I know. Got it. But
those are fun. I mean, those are fun things. I mean, yeah, that's what when I teach partnering, that's what I really concentrate a lot. You'd be surprised, guys don't really. You shouldn't have to really move your arms that much. You should really just lock your elbows down, and you do most of the movement with your torso and your feet. Your footwork is really important, and that's what I concentrate a lot on when I do.
Want to say hi? Yeah. This is Lavender, who we were just talking about. She's peering over. You can say
hi. Hi. What a beautiful name. What a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Are you going to be shy?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to watching you dance.
He's looking forward to watching you dance. She said thank you in her mind, but now she got really shy. She's braver on stage.
I mean, hey, I was that way. I was a very introverted kid. Ballet is what sort of got me to get out and become a human being. But yeah. So you have, I read that you have like 500 students?
Well, we did before coronavirus, being honest. Now we have about 270 students. We've lost about half of our students, but I hope they'll be back. It's just because of so much Zoom and so much.
Yeah. I mean,
so normally we
on
have
the website, and I thought, my initial impression was it's a small school and in, just a little startup school. And then I read that you had 500 students. I was like, wow, okay, this is impressive. That's really great.
Yeah, we've opened 3 studios now across Nairobi. So we have 3 different spaces, and each studio has 2 or 3 studios in it. And like 6 years ago when I started, I was the administrator and the cleaning lady and the ballet teacher, and I taught jazz. I even taught tap, which I hadn't taken tap since like 1999, which was hilarious. Great experience. I don't know the names of any of the steps, but I still remember how to do it, sort of. But now, well, you can do rodeo then. You're good to go.
Yeah.
So then it just grew and it grew. And now since then we've had like my best friend has come in as the head of contemporary. She's Dutch and she teaches that and all that stuff now. And just do advanced ballet. But we have, one second, guys. But we have, I think 14 different teachers now, 5 of them from around the world. And then we have lots of local teachers now as well teaching, I mean, stuff like hip hop and contemporary dance, but then also we're running a trainee teacher program through the Royal Academy of Dance, which there's a lot of British culture still here after colonialism. So people really like there to be exams. So
British culture just doesn't go away.
So I'm now a certifying teacher with the Royal Academy of Dance, so that I can do these exams and things. But they also have a really good teacher training program that lasts years for people who have some ballet training. They have to be at a certain level, passing an intermediate exam, but then they really it's like a college. So we've got 3 different guys right now going through that program. So in addition to trying to train young dancers, we're also trying to train teachers.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, we're doing a thing. This whole pandemic is
I mean, that's throwing a wrench into everybody's works. I'm very happy. I'm very fortunate. We're all happy to be healthy. Could be a lot worse, but I mean, it's
it could be better.
Now I'm getting all my usual spiel about how this is when we get creative, and this is
I like your positive energy. I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I you look at moments like this, and it's just like when we're very limited is when we have to be most creative, and it's moments like this that creativity really comes out, and the most innovative ideas really come forward. So I'm very positive about the future. I think that we're all going through a rough period here right now, and it's going to continue a little bit longer. But what develops out of this, I think, is going to be truly spectacular. And I think the arts are going to just absolutely explode all over the world as a result of all of this. So, I think we just have to bear down and stick it out a little bit longer.
We're looking at some things. Like, I had this 5-year plan to do a new ballet every year for 5 years, and then as a school, like, rotate them. And so far we've done Cinderella and then Midsummer's and then R&J recently. And yeah, so we're going to do things like I think we're going to repeat those 3 instead, because we built like sets from scratch, full, like ordered tutus, the whole thing. Oh, and I just bought 35 tutus or whatever for Bayadere, Kingdom of the Shades, for our 5th year anniversary. We were supposed to do Kingdom of the Shades. And because when we first did it, when I first opened, this was so awful, also footage that can never be shown. I did 16 girls in flat shoes and leotards with just headpieces when we very first opened outside. And it was, like feet like facing the wrong way and like really not in air vest, like not nice. And like it was going to be this great, like, look how far we've come in 5 years. Now we have like tutus, and there's there's 24 of them or 32 of them, or how many shades are there? Whatever, there 32. Yeah, there's 32, and then 3's the lowest, and blah blah blah. We had the whole thing ready to go, and that was March. The show was March 28th, and we went into lockdown on the 24th.
Oh, darn.
So yeah, but fortunately we've paid for all that stuff. So there's like a few shows that we're not going to invest in the next couple of years. I want to do Giselle, but we'll just wait. We'll just use what we've got, get creative, like you're saying, and
but that's great.
Or be less creative and redo some stuff.
But that's so cool. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be so exciting. I mean, La Bayadere is probably my favorite ballet, full-length ballet. I could listen to that. I teach class to La Bayadere music every Monday.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. Well, so that was my whole thing. Like, after the first 6 months, we did that lovely rendition that would have made everyone in the world cringe. Then this would be like, we're just going to do Kingdom of the Shades, but we didn't have the pas back then. Like, there were bits missing, although we did like the 3 girls and stuff like that. But then now, like, do full Kingdom of the Shades, and then hopefully in 5 more years for the 10-year anniversary, do like the full length ballet. I have these grand things in my mind.
Yeah, well, hey, we got to coordinate.
um,
Last time I was in India, I was talking about doing a production of La Bayadere in India with Indian dancers. I thought that would be the coolest thing in the world. And I asked a lot of people how they would feel about that. And everyone was like, let's do it. Everyone's super excited, you know. So
that is so cool.
that would be really fun. So yeah,
That would be amazing.
we'll have to coordinate and see what we could do about that. I mean, we're still talking about it, but I mean, obviously that's going to be way off in the future. But I did talk to a few people in the
Yeah,
Europe about
but
it as well.
even if but I mean, I would love to have more coaches coming in and stuff like that. But even if you're able to bring people together, if we've got all the tutus and stuff for that ballet, like we should be sending it instead of sitting on it for 5 years. Like if people can work together better, because it is so. I mean, the ballets that we're building, we're only putting $20,000 or $30,000 into, but that's like a ton of money for a school. And
Yeah,
like, I mean, but you can't do it for any less. Like,
that's great. I mean,
um,
that's still quite
when
an investment.
we've gotten so many corporate sponsors here, so we're also
Yeah.
trying to really reach into the Kenyan community. Everybody keeps telling me I need to get more international sponsors, but I try to use international sponsors for the kids to get them like education and all that stuff, because I feel like it's really wrong to go into the States and pull money out when those arts organizations are struggling. Guys, you're like really testing me. But yeah, it's really but yeah, I don't think it's right to necessarily go and take too much money from cities that are already have dancers they're struggling, because I was part of that for so long that
Yeah.
yeah, you got
Well,
kind
it's
of have
really
both
unfortunate
sides.
to sort of have to think that way. And that's another really big thing that I've been talking a lot about since I started Ballet Rising. It's, I did experience towards the beginning, someone wrote to me and they said, why are you trying to help? And they literally said, these poor kids in Africa, when we have starving organizations here in Europe. And I thought, well, okay, first of all, let's define starving here. Second of all, I disagree with that whole philosophy, because I don't think that we should be thinking like, okay, the pie is this big, so let's fight over this little bit. I truly believe that if we all work together, if artists from around the world came together and spoke with a unified voice about how important art is to humanity, that we wouldn't be fighting over little scraps. We could make the pie much bigger and there would be enough for all of us. And so I think that's really at the core of what Ballet Rising is. It's about making the pie bigger, and coordinating so that companies in India and Africa can coordinate with companies in Europe and Latin America and North America, and we can share ideas. We can speak with a unified voice, and yeah, let's get the global community to
I think it's a
understand.
great idea.
Yeah,
I want to connect. You might be the right person to do this. I want to connect. So Marcelino, come here. I have so many voice. This is Marcelino.
Hey,
Say hi.
Hi,
how are you?
Say, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good, very good. Nice to meet you.
I want to get these guys like pen pals with guys at Kirov or Winnipeg or like any students, and so that they're like emailing back and forth.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like also get more dance wear here for them, because what do those guys do with their tight, like ballet tights for guys are like $40 a pair. They're really expensive.
Hmm.
Y'all's tights are way more expensive than our tights. I know they last way longer, but like what do those guys do with their tights when they're done after their first year? And like especially all those schools that have uniforms, what happens to them? They could be sending them to these guys who are smaller.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I mean,
that's another.
smell me, sure, but
I mean, that was another thing I thought Ballet could do is be sort of a hub, and it takes me back to Cambodia. I remember the Stefan Vimson from Cambodia was telling me that one of the ballet manufacturers that makes point shoes makes them in Cambodia, and they were shipping all of those point shoes to North America and Europe. And if you were Cambodian and you wanted to buy them, you had to pay for them to be shipped back to Cambodia. So they were actually more expensive in Cambodia than they were in Europe, even though they were made there. And I thought, okay, that's, and I don't want to get on whatever company that is, because it's probably just, that's how the market works. But,
Their
but we can change.
Block is claimed as an Australian shoe, and they're made in Thailand. But I have friends in Thailand who go to Australia and buy a bunch of shoes, exactly the same thing, because even though they are being put together in Thailand, you can't buy them in Thailand because they're like over $100 a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy how that global stuff works.
It's so wrong. And I want Ballet Rising to be the organization to say, hey guys, let's work out a deal. And I know these companies would love it. If you're a point shoemaker and you know that there's some schools in Cambodia, I'm sure that they're going to say, yeah, why not? They have tons of shoes. My girlfriend, she's a dancer in the National Ballet here. She gets 20 pairs of shoes all the time from makers, and she tries, 19 of them don't fit very well. So she's like, okay, what do they do with those? I don't know. And I know that like a couple of years ago here at the National Ballet, we've had a big problem with slippery floors. And so Harlequin would come in and they would put a floor down. We'd try it out. No, still slippery. Okay, tear it up, put a new one down. And I thought, what do they do with those floors? And then I did notice recently that the Leap of Dance Academy, where the young boy that was doing all the Saucon turns with no shoes on, they recently received a shipment, a brand new floor from Harlequin just like a week ago. So, that's what I'm saying. These companies like Harlequin, Block, Apizio, they're very passionate about dance. I'm sure they would love to help anybody, around the world develop their school, develop their communities. So
if you can make, I've written both Capizio and Block, and I have gotten no response. They don't, I haven't found the right person. It's finding the right person.
Yeah.
But if Ballet Rising can be that connection that brings the real, because I'm sure they must get so many requests for so many different things, but you guys, if you can act as like a filter, sort of like you've done the research, who's doing what, and then connect with the people. I have one friend that works for Gaynor Minden, but I have so many beginning point students that I don't feel like those are the shoes that you really start with. I'm not trying to make a judgment call or anything, but like I don't know how much you know about girls' shoes, but you don't generally train in Gaynor Minden's. But yeah, no, I've written Block and Capizio, and I don't know who to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always finding that right person. Because I've looked for sponsors.
Because I'm sure you're right. I'm like, I know they'd be into this. We could do. We do ads and stuff for like Barclays of Kenya sponsor us, and we do ads for Barclays, and we do ads for Safaricom, which is the biggest telephone provider here, and stuff like that. Like, and with the current environment of people being so excited about different types of people being in dance, like, yeah, it would be great. But yeah. So if you know any way to get in touch with,
I'm gonna keep
Krishko or any of those guys, that would be amazing.
Trying and see where I can go with it. Ballet Rising is still we're just getting started. We sort of started and then fell off, and then started and fell off, and now we're starting again. This time we did get some funding.
Cool though. You're doing great.
Yeah, it's coming along slowly but surely. But we just got some funding just a couple of days ago. From a grant that I'm going to be talking a lot more about for more arts organizations here over the next couple of years. It's an amazing grant, and they have a fund of $100 million that they're giving out over the next 5 years for web content primarily. But like I said, I want to get a lot more arts organizations in on this grant to help develop art on the web. So we're getting started, and once we get some momentum and we get a little bit more going a little bit further, I think I'd love to really start reaching out. I do know one company right now that I'm going to reach out to tomorrow and see if they have some stuff. And if they do, I'll put them in touch with you.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, they're
really
nice
great.
people. They're really cool people, and they've asked me before if somebody needed something. So I'll reach out to them tomorrow and see where we can go with it. So yeah.
Awesome.
So I think we'll just let's just finish off where do you think the future of ballet, and it's sort of a broad question, what do you think the future of ballet in Africa is?
I think the short-term future is that what we were talking about, that we're going to see Kenyan and African dancers in major ballet companies around the world in the next 2-3 years, like soon. And in 10 years, it'll be normal. I hope, I think. And then longer term, I think we're going to see ballet companies. I think that people will be auditioning to come here, and like there'll be international companies here just like there are everywhere else. And yeah, so I think that's where I think it's going. I also think, but I think there's lots of sides to that have to work, like teacher training. Like we're going to see more African dance teachers, as well as and that's from, that's like those teachers, those amazing teachers who teach 2 and 3-year-olds to love ballet and get us all hooked, to pre-professional training programs. I'm really hoping to have schools throughout Kenya, and then have a national school that's a boarding school that like we have. Because yeah, I mean there's so many parts that have to work out. You think Balanchine, and what all did he do in America in the 1920s to create New York City Ballet and School of American Ballet. And like I've done a bunch of reading on that, and like just try to figure, because that seems to be what we're doing. We're taking something that's not very familiar and then trying to turn it into that. And so there's lots of little pieces that are gonna, but you need low level teachers, you need high level teachers, you need to build an audience, we need to do a lot of fundraising, we need to get ballet mainstream, and yeah, just all that stuff. I think that's where we're headed, though. I think that we've started, and we just have to keep going.
Yeah, nice. That's so inspiring to hear you say that. I mean, that's so exciting. And I really want to see what I can do to help as well, because I want to come down. I would love to teach some classes.
You got to come and teach some. Yeah, we would love, when men come to teach, it is just like the greatest thing ever. Because it's such a big missing piece, and we have so many young guys that are passionate about ballet. They love it. So you'll really love coming.
It was a big thing for me when I was a kid. I remember, I loved all my teachers. They were great. Some of my teachers were like my second mom. But when a man came in the room, suddenly for me it was like, whoa, it was different. Suddenly it was like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
It's just a different thing. So yeah, it'd be really exciting to come down and work with you guys and stay there for a little while, teach some partnering, just do whatever I can. And I'd love to bring some other teachers with me, choreographers. I spoke to several choreographers, Alexei Ratmansky and Chris Wheeldon, and they would all love to come down and help and see what they can do to help ballet thrive around the world. It's just really about connecting the pieces, getting a little bit of money, and getting it together. I'm waiting for COVID to clear up, but yeah, the global ballet community is ready to see what we can do to come together. So it's quite exciting and inspiring. So yeah. So is there anything you'd love to? This is my final segment of all of my interviews. Anything you'd love to just tell the world right now? Just something to boom, get it out there.
I guess I would say, to the ballet community, what you were saying is amazing. And I want to keep encouraging people to reach out and come and do. Or I have friends now that hold shows in the States or in Europe and raise money, or people that Zoom in and teach class. And so to the ballet community, whether you're a dancer or a teacher, or, get involved and just like you did, Casey, just reach out, send me a message and let me know what you want to do. Because I sometimes think as dancers, we express ourselves so nicely, but we're not always fulfilled. It's not quite enough. But being able to give back to these people, and this isn't like, these are real dancers that end up, 6 of them went to Cincinnati Ballet summer program last year. You might meet them one day. Yeah. You can get involved, and they might end up in your company because you did it. So it's not so, the world is so small now. So, they might go to the university you went to. They might, you could actually get and be a part of somebody's life and make a really big difference. So my big thing would be just reach out and get involved.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So what's the best way for people to contact you?
Probably Facebook is a great way. Through me personally, Cooper Rust, or Dance Center Kenya, or Artists for Africa. The Artists for Africa is the 501c3 that I have based out of the States that does all the work with the underprivileged kids, and all their education and all like their flights when they need to get places, and their auditions and their food. They feed us everything. And then but Dance Center Kenya is the studio here that so any Dance Center Kenya, Artists for Africa, Cooper Russ, any way I'll get the message.
Okay,
And
great. Yeah, I'll put all the links down below the video for everyone to get on and see everything and all the contacts. Well, great. I think you're doing an amazing thing here. It's really inspiring, and I'm really happy I finally got to meet you and talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person someday and talking to you a lot more.
Amazing. Yeah, no, and congratulations on what you're doing and your grant. That's awesome. That's so exciting. It's going to such a boost. I know that feeling when you're like, oh, money? I can do this.
Yes. Yeah, cool. Well, looking forward to talking to you some more, and have a great night. Tell all your kids I said hi.
I will. Okay. Bye.
All right, take care. Ciao.